there is a bit of trust, right?
Yes.
But I mean, ultimately, it's these people's job, to select the appropriate products for your investment needs. And they will do that through various questions they might ask you, looking at your scenario. Factors that can play a role is income, age, time to retirement.
Many a times, those seeking to invest some of their hard-earned savings lack the time, knowledge, and experience to invest successfully, often encountering difficulties that could have been avoided had they taken advice from an independent financial advisor at the outset and continued to listen to their counsel over time. To unpack this, I'm joined in studio by Etienne le Roux from Allan. Etienne, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Wealth Talk.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Now, independent financial advisor, what exactly is that? And do they really play such an important role?
Yeah. I mean, I think the emphasis there is on independence,
Right.
right? So it means that it's a financial advisor, some of them with, some form of qualification. Globally, the sort of I want to say the mark of excellence for financial advisors is the so-called CFP designation or accreditation. It stands for Certified Financial Planner, and this will give you an indication that these guys, have done further studies and an exam, to fulfill their roles. But I mean, they play a very important role. They're not merely product pickers. They know what to look for. They can listen to their clients' needs and goals, and then find, investment solutions and policies wherever it's applicable, to match that to the needs of their clients.
Right. From where you seated and from what you've observed, what are some of the limiting beliefs, or rather the apprehension that people generally have regarding IFAs or independent financial advisors?
I think many years ago, there was policy salesmen. So they would knock on your door, phone you for an appointment, and try and sell you something. They would show you lovely graphs and how much your money is going to be worth one day. But I think the modern day independent financial advisor is quite different. As I said, many of them have a qualification, so they spend quite a bit of time behind the books to understand the investment world, to understand the life insurance world. Because financial planning is an holistic thing. You can't look at your investments separately from your life insurance, your short-term insurance. You need that as well to have cover for your assets. So I think that stigma from the past, there's still a bit of that left, but certainly the modern day ones, and especially those with the CFP accreditation, these guys know what they're doing.
Right. Now, are there excuse me, are there some challenges or pitfalls that one should be looking out for when considering an independent financial advisor?
Yeah, look, maybe when you again, the emphasis, I think, is on independence, right?
Right.
So there's also what we call a tied agency force, and these guys are equally well qualified to provide assistance. I think why we prefer the independent financial advisors is because they are not linked to any single company. They're not linked to a bank or a life insurance company. They are not incentivized to push the products of a specific company. They can tell you, they can put it on the table for you, say, here's product A, B, and C, and we think C is the better one. There's no incentive for them to choose the one over the other.
Right.
So that's where the true independence come in. But I mean, in terms of pitfalls, these guys will certainly assist you with having or creating a financial plan, helping you stick to your goals, and help you understand the effects of inflation, right? So if a bread costs $10, at the moment, and you need $11 to buy the same loaf of bread next year, that $1 difference, that is inflation. If you don't understand that concept, it can cost you dearly.
Now, but Etienne, how does one then know what the correct investment product will essentially be when I'm having a conversation or a discussion with an independent financial advisor?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a bit of trust, right?
Yes.
But I mean, ultimately, it's these people's job, to select the appropriate products for your investment needs. And they will do that through various questions they might ask you, looking at your scenario. Factors that can play a role is income, age, time to retirement. So they consider all the various factors, your appetite for risk, the time horizon, how long you will be investing for, and then they will ultimately match some of what you said with some products available out there. And they would have done a due diligence on that as well, right? To select the good ones, because there are so many out there. You
I can imagine,
get easily confused.
You touched a bit on retirement savings earlier, and it's something that I find myself, especially with my friends and colleagues and millennials generally. This is something that's something that we are talking a lot about, especially when it comes to when we change jobs or something happens in life. We all know life does happen. Any recommendations regarding specifically retirement savings?
Yeah. I mean, I recently read again that Warren Buffett, the famous investor, something like 95% of his wealth, he only accumulated that after the age of 65. And that was really because of compounding, right? So if you save little by little on a continuous basis, that thing grows.
Yes.
And then, how compounding works, imagine a snowball, if that thing rolls, eventually with every roll, it just gets exponentially larger. And with investments, it's the same thing. So the trick is to save early on in life as much as you can to ensure that your money starts working for you and that you can retire successfully. So often you would change jobs and say at the age of 35, you choose to take a different job and now your pension fund is available. You have either the option to pay the tax on it, receive the money, or to transfer it to the next employer's pension fund or put it in a preservation fund. But if you would take what you had at that age, you will have so much left at the end of at the end of your career, and there are lots of figures and calculators that you can play with to see the erosion effect of accessing your retirement money earlier in life. So, yeah, I mean, I think the thing is invest and stay invested.
Now, Etienne, these are stressful times with the advent of COVID-19, uncertain economic futures, and just really what's going on in the world right now. One can't help but just scratch their head and just put their hands on their head and say, "Yo, what's going to happen?" Now, a bit of a wild card for you here: emotions, and assuming that our emotions might also at times get the better of us. How can we mitigate that?
Yeah. Well, look, discipline, of course, but that's easier said than done. And I think, a good financial advisor will also help you to stay calm, take your hand, remind you of what the goal is that you set for yourself. I think those are the important things. So, and that objectivity that comes with an independent financial advisor is also very important, right? The urge to access some of your funds, it will be there. Or maybe you've lost your job and you have no other choice. But even in a scenario like that, if you were a victim, if you lost your job because of, say, COVID, maybe your company closed down or whatever the case might be, a financial advisor might say, okay, well, this is what you have, this is what you got out of it. Let's see how this can best work for you going forward. So I think, they're really there to help you focus, remain committed, sticking to your goals. But there's, of course, one other big important thing that we shouldn't forget, and that is the good old emergency fund, right? When COVID hit, it would have been good to have an emergency fund, for those unforeseen expenses or occurrences. So, that's something to bear in mind. But if it makes you feel better, COVID is not the first pandemic, it's probably not the last. We will be confronted with many such events, or not maybe at that scale, but with many events in our lives that might throw us off our path to successful retirement. And
Right. And before we let you go, closing remarks. We just, top of mind advice to our viewers and listeners.
Yeah. Look, it's not impossible to do your own investments, right? I mean, some people have a better understanding of certain things, but I think self-investing is a bit like self-medicating. If you go into the internet, you might find 110 answers on how to grow rich and how to retire successfully. I think one have to be cautious. Unless you have full confidence or maybe experience, in managing your own investments, best to seek that independent advice.
Right.
Not all of them ask for money up front, typically only when you utilize their services or their products. So it's really, I do it on an annual basis, use my financial advisor as a soundboard, just to make sure, that my thinking is correct and, that I get an objective view on it. Right. So try it out.
I definitely will be trying out a financial advisor because I need one.
We all do.
Etienne, thank you so much for your time today. That's all we have for Wealth Talk today.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
That was Etienne le Roux from Allan. Great talking to us about independent financial advisors and why they're so important. Thank you very much for joining us on Wealth Talk. Catch us next time.